the first term, though, USAID was something that you liked in some respects.
I love the concept of it. Sure. I love the concept, but they turned out to be radical left lunatics. And the concept of it is good, but it's all about the people.
That was President Trump today sharing his opinion about USAID.
He also talked about the moves made by Elon Musk and the DOGE organization to, in essence, shut down that independent agency over the weekend. And I'm going to share that with you in just a second. But there's a lot going on with all of this, so I want to back up and make sure that you're really clear on what is happening. First, you need to understand what's happening with USAID is separate from what happened over the weekend at the Treasury Department with Elon Musk demanding access to the federal payment systems. I can make a totally separate video about that. But in this video, I want to make sure I explain USAID because this is a big deal. So USAID is the United States Agency for International Development. This independent agency has been around since the 1960s. So before Congress passed the Foreign Assistance Act of 1961, foreign outreach by the United States was haphazard, for lack of a better term. But when Congress passed that law, President John F. Kennedy thought it would be a good idea to have one single agency within the U.S. government that would be responsible for administering foreign aid to countries to promote social and economic development and have the entire U.S. government on one page. Now, through that law, President Kennedy established USAID. So since then, how USAID works has evolved, but the root mission has always been the same: to partner with countries to end extreme poverty and promote resilient democratic societies while advancing our own U.S. security and prosperity. And since 2013, USAID has been using science and technology and innovation to maximize the dollars that are sent to these countries to help their social and economic development. So I know lots of you are already saying, why are we spending our money on foreign aid? Why are we doing all these things? Well, there's a practical reason, a moral reason, and a legal reason. So President Kennedy laid out the moral reason when he created USAID. He said, there is no escaping our obligations, our moral obligations as a wise leader and good neighbor in the interdependent community of free nations, our economic obligations as the wealthiest people in a world of largely poor people, as a nation no longer dependent upon loans from abroad that once helped us develop our own economy, and our political obligations as the single largest counter to the adversaries of freedom. There's a practical reason, because if we help stabilize these other countries, at least in theory, the people of those countries will stay there and help their own country prosper and then ultimately become a place where the U.S. can export our goods. And if we can provide technology and medicines, we can prevent disease outbreaks and epidemics from spreading and reaching the United States. Foreign aid also helps combat conditions like poverty and weak institutions and corruption, because when that's allowed to fester, it can spawn terrorism, which then becomes a national security concern for us. Lastly, there's a legal reason for distributing foreign aid, because Congress passes laws that require it. Now, let me be very clear here. USAID does not spend money on its own. It does not just write checks willy-nilly to whomever it wants. That's not how this works. All of the money that USAID sends is allocated by a law that Congress has passed. And as I have reported multiple times on this page, foreign aid amounts to less than 2% of the entire federal budget. The fact is, though, on President Trump's first day in office, he signed an executive order freezing all new foreign assistance while everything underwent some kind of review. Since then, thousands of USAID employees have been laid off and programs have shut down around the world. But what happened over the weekend was something completely different. Elon Musk and his DOGE team reportedly wanted access to USAID's sensitive, secure systems to review these foreign aid programs, again, approved by law by Congress. And when career officials who worked at USAID said no, those officials were put on administrative leave, and Musk was ultimately given access to those systems anyway. Well, as of today, the newly confirmed Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, said that behavior by the USAID career officials was inappropriate.
I'm very troubled by these reports that they've been unwilling to cooperate with people who are asking simple questions about what does this program do, who gets the money, who are our contractors, who's funded, and that sort of level of insubordination makes it impossible to conduct the sort of mature and serious review that I think foreign aid writ large should have.
Secretary Rubio says the State Department is going to absorb USAID, and he says he is now the acting director of the agency, even though he also said that he delegated that responsibility to someone else. So the question is, can Elon Musk, an unelected billionaire who has not been confirmed by the Senate and who is technically not even a real federal employee, shut down a government agency like he did over the weekend? And can he tell the thousands of federal employees who work at USAID to stay home from work today and do no work while still collecting a taxpayer-funded paycheck? Yes, that's what's happening, in case you're confused about it. Today, President Trump said, yeah, that's cool.
Elon can't do and won't do anything without our approval, and we'll give him the approval where appropriate. Where not appropriate, we won't. But he reports in, and it's something that he feels very strongly about, and I'm impressed because he's running obviously a big company. It has nothing to do, if there's a conflict, that we won't let him get near it. But he does have a good natural instinct. He's got a team of very talented people. We're trying to shrink government.
Let's put Elon Musk to the side for a second. The even bigger question is, does the president of the United States even have the power on his own to just eliminate an entire government agency created by an act of Congress? I mean, generally the answer is no. And a whole bunch of Democrats today said it's a hell no, Trump does not have that kind of power. But Trump today says, yeah, he does. And he said he has a good reason to shut down USAID now.
If it comes to fraud, you wouldn't have an active Congress, and I'm not sure that you would anyway. But we just want to do the right thing. It's something that should have been done a long time ago. There's tremendous fraud, but we'll be doing a report. We'll be giving you that report at the appropriate time. Yeah.
We will obviously be waiting to see that report. Nobody's seen it yet. And so far, neither Trump nor Musk have given any kind of proof of any kind of fraud from USAID.